Good evening, Mr. Walker, dear board members. On January 8th, our City Council, at the behest of the Mayor, declared citizens of Jersey City unfit to elect the school board. In coming months, we can expect a well-funded propaganda machine that will dredge up every flaw and scandal associated with the school board, urging voters to allow the mayor to replace you, because it's the only way to fix the schools. I fundamentally disagree with this idea, but I must note that one of these scandals still breaks my heart, especially today on Holocaust Remembrance Day. During the reorganization meeting, I watched speakers defend Mr. Well's comments about Jews, and while I logically understood their desire to protect you as their pioneer role model, it was disheartening to see the distinguished members of community who must know what it's like to be stereotyped and scapegoated by society apply the same generalizations and stereotypes to vilify the Jewish people. One speaker even said that Judaism has nothing to do with ethnicity. Now, in Soviet Ukraine, where I was born, being a Jew had everything to do with ethnicity because faith was outlawed. The Soviet government kept track of its Jews by marking their identity papers, birth certificates, and passports. It was the government's way to limit Jewish access to education and employment. When I searched my great-grandfather's World War II records, I found that every single one of his commendation papers had Jew label in the nationality bracket. This label was a way of reminding Soviet Jews that they did not belong. A reminder that even if they were born or lived for generations in Ukraine, Russia, or Uzbekistan, they were always outcasts. No matter how integrated they were into society or what contributions they made, they could always be easily cast out or killed. Over the years, I have heard you mention the Amistad Commission and curriculum of African American history. And while Holocaust is taught in American schools, Amistad is not. And in an ironic parallel, I must tell you that in Soviet Union, we did study history of slavery and racism and civil rights in America, albeit purely in the context of anti-American propaganda, but still we learned it in depth. Yet, there was no mention of Holocaust in Soviet schools at all. My home in Kiev is located 2 miles away from Babin Yar, a place where Nazis massacred and buried over 10,000 Jews. I did not know that growing up. There was no memorial on site and no mention of it in our lessons or textbooks or TV programs. Ukraine lost 3/4 of its Jewish population in the Holocaust, and no one could talk about it. First time I saw a Holocaust documentary was in 10th grade English class in George Washington High School in Philadelphia. It shocked me. How tragic is it that I had to travel halfway around the world to learn about my own history in this country? When people are stereotyped, it becomes easy to judge them, hate them, and hurt them. And without knowledge and diplomacy, it will keep happening. Same can be said about Ms. Velasquez's social media statement about evangelical Christians. Evangelical faith had saved my life, and I had opportunity to meet people who had been imprisoned in Stalin's concentration camps for that same faith. So to vilify and stereotype an entire faith or ethnic group for actions of the few, even if they're at fault, is highly irresponsible for people in position of authority. And you are all in positions of authority. You preside over the educational lives of 35,000 children who carry the most diverse heritage of cultures this country has probably ever seen. You have the responsibility to be the best diplomats and best leaders you can be for all of their sake. As Martin Luther King had said, we may have all come on different ships, but we're all in the same boat now, for better or worse. Today, our local government wants to use your every shortcoming to undo a vital democratic process, and we cannot let that happen. For the next 3 months, they will scrutinize you, particularly as you try and solve the financial crisis. You will be expected to raise taxes at the threat of being labeled as political cowards. At the same time, there are already articles that say you cannot come up with any creative solutions but to raise taxes. Anything you do at this point will be judged and used as an excuse to undermine your right to your elected positions and our right to vote you in. I do not envy you, but I believe you deserve a right to do the job that you all were elected to do, every single one of you. I have to believe you have enough collective knowledge, dedication, and independent thought to prove to our city government that you can be bold and creative and frugal and practical while keeping our kids a priority. In doing this, you have our full support. Thank you.